Welcome back to Red Hawk Media. Today we're wrapping up the final segment of our zombie project here. It has been a multi-part series. Just to kind of recap some of the things that we did, we took a picture of ourselves, head and shoulder shots. We got rid of the background. We created a displacement image. We wrapped over textures, added on some gore and blood, learned how to use the burn tool by burning in the different effects around the wounds that we added on. And then, of course, we learned how to add images and add color over the top of this. We did the puppet warp transform tool to distort our mouths, eyes, things like that. We added in extra objects from outside of our project, so we brought in these nasty teeth and some of the textures, just a whole slew of wonderful skills that we've been working on so far. So today we want to wrap it up. We want to save this as a PNG, and we want it to be as clean around the outside of your image as possible. So we're going to take some precautions to do that. Beforehand, let's just take a quick look at where we've come from. I'm going to show you kind of a before and after pic. So here's before, and here's after. Before and after. Pretty dramatic change here between the two. Pretty slick how that worked out. Alright, so I've already created a background, or I've already created a layer, and I've dragged it in behind my picture. Now I'm not adding in a background per se to keep in here for right now, but I'm going to add in a white background so that I can actually see what I have to cut up around the outside of my image, because I think there's some shadows here, but it's hard to tell on the transparent background. So let's take a look at how to do that. Over here, I'm going to take my foreground color, and I'm going to double check that it's on a nice white, so anything that shouldn't be there shows up. Click OK. And now with that selected, with this layer selected, I can actually just hit Alt and delete, and it fills in the background. Now if I zoom in and take a look at the edges, I can see some of the stuff that's spilled over here. So I can do this a number of different ways. I can grab the eraser, start erasing around the outside of this. Okay, let's go back on that. Sorry, wrong layer. Grab this layer, and now on that layer, go around and grab the eraser. Now I got to be careful what I've got for a mode on here. Probably want a really hard brush so that that's all set up. And let me do that one more time. Hard brush, and there we go. Now we're set up. That way it cuts like a clean line next to everything. If I have a feathered brush, what's going to end up happening there is I'm going to end up kind of like erasing some of the pixels and making the edges kind of fuzzy and foggy here. So I go ahead and clean up around here, make sure that there's nothing else that's on here that I have to worry about. I'm seeing imaginary things to erase right now because I have smudges on my screen. Really should clean that. Okay, and I can go along like this. Now, once I get this all cleaned up, okay, and I'm happy with the background, I've got everything as crisp as possible around the edges here, within reason, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take away the background again, just get rid of it. It was just a tool that we were using to clean all this up. And let's round that ear back off so it doesn't have those funny points. You get the idea. So I'd continue this process. Now, I'm going to go ahead, wipe out that background, get that out of there, go back to the transparent background, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this image as a PNG. We haven't used this at all this year, so I want to kind of talk about it a little bit. I'd go to Save As, and now instead of the Photoshop format, which we've been saving everything at so we can come back, work on it, see our layers, and all that stuff, I'm going to switch this up to a PNG, a PNG file. Okay, what that does is it allows us to maintain the transparency that's around the outside here. So when I grab all of the different faces and put them together into a big montage for the class, or a big collage, I should say, then we can kind of see everybody else's faces. There won't be any backgrounds that are distracting. We won't have to cut around any white backgrounds. If I were to save this as a JPEG, which I would not want to do, it's going to fill in all that transparency with white. It does that automatically. So go with PNG, give it a title, Zombie Me, okay, and then I go ahead and save that. Alright, Now this is going to pop up afterwards. I don't change anything here. I just go ahead and click OK. And now I've got a PNG image of this saved. Now, we're going to go one step further. This is for you and for your records there for your own picture. We're going to go ahead and save it as a JPEG. And we're going to add in a scary background here. So I'm going to go ahead, go back out. I've already got a background that I've selected. Let's create a new layer. Drag that one behind there. It's already set. And let's get to the picture that I found. This is like an old cellar, something out of an Edgar Allan Poe, Cask of Amontillado type story here. And I'm going to go ahead and drag that in. All right, now here's something to be aware of. I've got this picture that I brought in. All right, looked like a pretty big picture online. Obviously, my photo is a whole different caliber of picture, though. So I want to go back and probably find something a little bit larger. Our photos are taken at a resolution of at like 3,500 pixels. I could stretch this and probably get away with it. If I were going to ever print this picture, though, it wouldn't be recommended to do this kind of stretching just because it loses some of the quality when you do this. Now right now it looks all fuzzy, but in a bit it's going to get much clearer when I go ahead and apply the changes. And there we go. Now you can see a dilemma that I've got. See this white glow that goes around my shoulders here? I'd want to go in and actually fix that. The other thing is I don't really match this background all that much. Okay, so I would want to do some color changes too on my layer. One of the ways we can do that, we practice hue and saturation, but what we could do is we can add in color balance. Okay, and what I can do is once I add in a color balance to the layer that I want to change, up here I've got this setting, and it says this adjustment affects all layers below. If I don't want it to affect all of my layers, meaning including my background, I go ahead and click this, and now it's clipped to just this layer. So layer 5 is the only one, the one with the zombie. That's the only one that's actually getting changed here. So now I can go in and I can do some subtle color changes. I've got shadows, midtones, and highlights, and a little goes a long ways in this kind of a setting here. Okay, so I can go in and tweak a few things, try to get the look that I'm going for here. I'm not really getting what I want, so I don't think I'm going to do the color balance. I'm going to go ahead and delete that layer out of there. Don't like it. Okay, and I'm going to try a different one that may give me a different effect. Let's go ahead and try the hue and saturation on that one. So again, I can go down to the bottom of my layer palette, click on the options for image adjustments, go to hue and saturation. And now, same thing, I clip it to this layer so that it's only affecting this layer. And I can go in and either desaturate a little bit. There we go. That's looking more like old school horror films here. I can change the colors a little bit, one way or another. Don't think I really need to do that though. I like the saturation. I can take the lightness down. Now it's looking like I'm actually in that background here, and there we go. Not too bad. Now I look like I blend in a little bit more. Okay, one last adjustment that I would make on this picture, as I've darkened this up a little bit, I can kind of see where I put my texture on the right side of my face here. I can see a distinct line. It's been really bothering me. One of the tools that we can use if you're having similar difficulties with your zombie is, let's go ahead and zoom in here, and we can actually use the healing brush. I know we used that earlier in some earlier episodes, but we're going to use the healing brush tool, and it's usually used to fix like wrinkles and blemishes and things like that, but I'm going to target an area where my skin is normal, and then I'm going to go above that, and I'm going to paint over this. And then when I let go, you can see that it's more blended in here. So I'm going to target a new area, always retargeting. And then paint over there, target again, paint right over the edges here. And you can see little by little, it's just blending that stuff in here so it doesn't look like such a distinct line. Go right up to the edge there. Not too bad. I took away a little bit of my face. Be careful on that one. Target again. And you got the idea. Okay, I'd go all around the edges here, clean that all up so that it starts to blend in a whole lot more. So when I zoom out now, you can see it's not a crisp line anymore. It's more blended in the way it should be. If I wanted, I could use the clone stamp on a very light setting too to go over the edges to further blend that in. So those are some more techniques that might be useful to kind of put the finishing touches on your zombie picture. This has been a 4-part series. Thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure, especially during this season of Walking Dead and upcoming Halloween and that. This has been a Red Hawk Media production. See you again.